But when I looked out to the front, there was at least 20, maybe 30 teenage girls all outside my parents' house. 30, I'd say, yeah, 30 teenage girls, you know. And I thought, what the heck? What's going on? And she said, okay, so why are they there? She said, by the way, who is Tony? I says, what? Who is Tony? Who's out there? And then I realized. Warning. This video contains content that some viewers may find disturbing. Meaning, me!
Stick around.
Hey guys, welcome to another Greg GNP video here on YouTube. And first things first, let me just say that I hope you had a very relaxed and enjoyable Christmas. And even if you're not, a Christmas kind of person, hey, don't worry about it. I mean, there's holidays, right? So I hope that, you were maybe able to relax or, just get an opportunity to just chill, okay? And, of course, another year, 2022, who knows what that's going to bring. The only thing I hope it brings for you is health and happiness. And for me, well, I don't know, the same. Maybe some more subscribers. Hint, hint. Okay, seriously, so this video, I know, yeah, it comes with a warning. And it's not quite like any other video I've made before. It's a little bit about me. Well, it's also about you, by the way. Well, you would have to be involved. Of course, I've got to involve you. You're involved. But also, what I want to do is sort of focus on the other side of me that people don't really know. I thought with the time of year that's in it, it might be nice to sort of do something different. And reflect a little bit here. Okay. It comes from somebody's idea, and I get ideas from you guys all the time, people saying, hey, why don't you make videos about this, and why don't you make videos about that, and different things, and yay, cool. People have been suggesting, not just here, but also on the Facebook page. Have you checked out Greg GNP on Facebook? I'll put a link in the description below. So yeah, thank you very much for all your messages and comments and stuff like that. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the subscriptions too, by the way. I mean, I had no intention, as you probably know from my 1,000 subscriber video, of becoming a creator or a YouTuber. But that was more happenstantial, kind of accidental even, during lockdown in 2020 when, let's face it, most of us were not going anywhere. We weren't doing very much. So I'm sort of like this, sitting at home, twiddling my thumbs, thinking, what am I going to do, And I'm not sure if you can see behind me. Maybe the microphone here is blocking it. I'll try and point it and keep it in shot, just where my hand is pointing. Sort of over there, guys, okay, just below where I'm pointing down. There's a lot of, can you see those? There's a lot of old VCR cassettes. Old video cassettes. And they came from my late father's house, when we were clearing it out and so on. And with all these old video cassettes, I thought, well, I can't throw them away. You've got to check what's on them. And just lucky I did, because I found a lot of old family videos, weddings and stuff like that, which I was able to digitize and keep that for future generations. So that was really nice to find. A bit emotional, but hey, that's life. I also discovered the ABBA documentary, which went viral here. ABBA, The Untold Story, because what I decided to do was check if that actual documentary was on YouTube, which it wasn't. I was quite surprised at that. So it's making its way to 500,000 views, which is astounding. It's wonderful. And I've responded to you guys because I know a lot of you have subscribed to my channel on the basis of that content. So I always try to provide different content all the time, okay? So I've responded a little bit there. There's been, more recent documentaries and things uploaded to the channel here on that subject. So yeah, what do you think? I think maybe we should get this scary part out of the way, the warning. We warned you that the content of this video may be a little bit upsetting. Okay. As I said, I wasn't always a YouTuber. I spent over a quarter of a century of my life as a radio DJ. presenter, as they are called in the UK and Ireland. If you're watching this in North America, you will know that radio DJs, technically or properly, they're called radio announcers. Okay, radio announcers. But it's still the same thing, radio DJ. So I spent actually close to 30 years. 30 years doing that. Can you believe it? So, I started my career in pirate radio, unlicensed radio if you like, pirate radio, in the early 1990s, at the start of the 1990s. And by 1994, I had enough money to buy equipment and start my own pirate radio station in the Republic of Ireland, in the south of Ireland, a little bit outside Dublin, in a town called Navan. Navan is about 30 miles. It depends whether you look at it in kilometres or miles, but maybe a little bit more than 30 miles northwest of Dublin City, the capital city of Ireland. So that's where it was based, and I started it there. It became hugely successful. We had, 18 hours live programming every day, and I had 12 people working voluntarily for me. Volunteers, yeah. It meant so much for them to be on the station and so on. But let's get to the shocker part. I hope you're sitting down for this, because believe it or not, guys, Greg once had hair.
The sound processing freaks and...
Yeah, okay. Relax, I may have been born like this, but, there was that part in between. I came into this world with no hair, but then I suddenly had hair, and these days I comb my hair with a razor blade once or twice a week. Hey, it cuts down on the costs of going to the barber or getting my hair cut there. So anyway, look, I've worked in a lot of radio stations in my life. I'm semi-retired these days, and I worked in some very big stations. One station, for example, that used to broadcast across Europe into 11 countries. Have a look at this.
Across the UK and Ireland, this is the new Atlantic 252 playing York, The Awakening. What a mega song on a mega radio station as well.
I said 11 countries. It was probably more than that, actually. But anyway, with millions and millions of listeners, long before YouTube existed and so on. So, getting back, now that we've got over the shock that I actually had hair. Actually, you know something? When I look at that, I think, wow, that was me. Those video clips have actually come from other YouTube channels. They've given me kind permission to use them. And it's kind of weird, when you see yourself on YouTube on other channels. But anyway, they were quite happy and they said, hey, yeah, Greg, it's nice to hear from you. Yeah, go ahead, do what you want to do with them, But yeah, I want to get back to you, and this is where you come in again. Yes, you. Your suggestions, and one person that knows me quite well said, he said to me, what you should do is tell your subscribers, not just introduce yourself in this video a little bit more, but tell them of some of the unusual things that happened in my pirate radio days, particularly when I owned my own pirate radio station. There's so many stories, guys. I mean, so many unusual events, strange things that happened. Let me just give you one example. And what I want you to do is, if you want me to expand on this a bit more in future videos, then certainly I'll do it for you, okay? But these are things that actually happened. This actually happened. So there's so many stories, I decided to pick one randomly, okay? So picture this, or imagine this, okay? I think it was 1996. Yeah, it was about 1996. One of the DJs that worked for me at my pirate radio station came in one day and he said, hey, Greg, I've got this disc, the CD. Let me show you. Now, this is not the actual disc, okay? But this is just in case there's any millennials watching that don't know what CDs are. Isn't it incredible? They don't sort of know what these things are anymore. CDs, a compact disc, originally launched in 1983. He came in with this disc one day and he said, you know, there's an interview on this disc with a boy band. Now, the 1990s were not any different to any other decade. Every decade has had boy bands, girl bands, but let's stick with the 90s, okay? And of course, in the 1990s, who could forget the Spice Girls? Spice Girls, yeah, huge. Global, huge. But then you had the boy bands. You had, in the UK and Ireland, and yeah, across Europe, you had these guys. Take that. And sort of in competition to them, these guys, East 17. So on this disc, on this compact disc, were answers, if you like, from the lead singer. The lead singer of East 17 was a guy called Tony Mortimer. Tony Mortimer. And he said, you know, I'm sorry I don't have any transcript. You know, but if you listen to his answers, maybe you can write down the questions that would befit his answers and mix the two together. So I said, yeah, okay, leave it with me. I'll see what I can do with it. I am interested. So I listened to, you know, all of his answers, and I thought, okay, maybe I could do something with this. Maybe I could. So I started writing out all these questions, recorded my voice asking these questions, mixed my voice with his answers, and it turned out really good, really well, guys. And I thought, you know what, this is good enough to broadcast. And this was a pirate radio station that I was running from the back garden of my parents' home, okay? And it was in a shed. This shed had no windows. I commandeered this shed, okay? So it was just a door. I mean, when you close the door, anything could be happening outside. You wouldn't know. I mean, it was totally dark. So I had to get electricity in there and get some light in and stuff like that, and, you know, wire in the studio and do different things. So anyway, we decided to promote this interview, sort of like a commercial or advertisement, you know. And we ran the commercial for, I think, let's see, maybe 3 or 4 days before the actual broadcast. And in this promo, we call it a promo, okay? It was about me talking to Tony Mortimer, this lead singer of this boy band that was huge in the 1990s across the UK and Ireland, particularly in the UK and Ireland, but yeah, in Europe too. They sold a lot of records in different parts of the world as well. East 17, okay, just look them up if you're in some part of the world and you don't know who they are. And anyway, it was broadcast on another guy's show sometime in the afternoon. I mean, it was 1996, so it's a long time ago. I do remember it was during the summertime, and all the students in high school, you know, high school students and teenagers were on their summer holidays from high school and college and stuff. So we had a big audience for that, but probably a lot bigger than I expected. And anyway, we were halfway through broadcasting this interview, and my mother, who was at home at the time, came out to the back garden and knocked on the door. Knocked on the door of the studio, and I opened the door, and she said, can you and I have a few words, please? I need to talk to you. And I said, yeah, okay, sure, no problem. Excuse me, I'll be back in a moment. So I left the studio and I followed her back into the house, you know. And we got to the kitchen and she said, what's going on? And I said, I don't know. What do you mean, what's going on? She said, well, who have you got out there? Who's out there? What's going on? I said, nothing. It's just me and Andrew. Well, I called him Andy. It's just me. Andy's on air. It's just me and him. Are you sure about that? Are you sure you haven't got anybody else? I said, yeah. Why? What? Tell me, what's going on? Okay, come with me, she said. So we walked through the kitchen of my parents' home. We walked into the living room, and I remember, the living room was quite a long living room. There was one window at one side of the room, and there was another window at the other side of the room, and the first window looked in, to the front garden, the front of the house, and the road and stuff, the driveway, and then the back window, of course, looked at the back garden. But when I looked out to the front, there was at least 20, maybe 30 teenage girls all outside my parents' house. 30, I'd say, yeah, 30 teenage girls, And I thought, what the heck? What's going on? And she said, okay, so why are they there? She said, by the way, who is Tony? I says, what? Who is Tony? Who's out there? And then I realised, Tony Mortimer, lead singer of this boy band. So these girls were arriving at my parents' home, believing that this pop star from London, England, or got on a plane from London, flew to Ireland to get a taxi to my parents' home and do an interview at the back of my parents' home at a pirate station? Okay, so the next thing was to get rid of them. She said to me, my mother, that is, said, how are you going to get rid of them? And she said, your father is due home from work soon. How is he going to get his car in here? I mean, they were in the driveway. They were everywhere, these girls. How's he going to get his car parked? And I said, look, I'll tell you what, leave it with me. I've got an idea. I turned on the radio in the living room and I said, just listen. I tuned it into my station and I said, just listen. So I went back out to the studio and I said to the guy on air, I said, look, when that interview is finished, when it's finished playing, I want you to go live on the microphone and say that was a recorded interview. It was recorded. It's important that you emphasize that it was a recorded interview. That I went to Dublin last week and met the guys at a hotel and we recorded the interview there. He said, why is that? And I said, I don't have time to explain right now, but if you could just do that, that would be wonderful. So anyway, as I was leaving, he even said, what hotel? I said, I don't care what hotel, any hotel. You pick a hotel. Doesn't matter what hotel. Just say that it was last week, last Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day. Okay. So I went back into the house. I looked outside, and of course all the girls were still there. And my mother said, well, I said, just wait a minute, hold on. And it was interesting. Of course, in those days, there was no such thing as Wi-Fi or, data or data on your phone or anything. There wasn't smartphones. So what they had was pocket radios, FM pocket radios. So they had these little pocket radios, and, we'll pretend this box is the CD box is a pocket radio, and they were listening like this, you see, and they were all kind of huddled around listening to the interview. And while they were listening, my mother said, some of those girls were calling to the door asking if it would be possible to meet Tony. I said, I'll explain everything to you when this is all over. Just watch and listen. So the interview ended, and of course the DJ did say on air, that was a recorded interview from last week, recorded at whatever hotel. And you could see their reactions. It was kind of like, it's a real disappointment. It was interesting because at that time, a car pulled up. This woman driving a car, she pulled up outside my parents' house, opened the doors, and let these girls out to join the rest of them. People actually believe this, that it's going to be coming from someone's house. But I think what that did for me really was it showed the power of radio. Radio is powerful. Well, they say it's theatre of the mind. That certainly worked. And I think if you put that into a movie, people wouldn't believe it. They wouldn't believe it. I don't think they would anyway. They'd probably think that would never happen in real life. You joking? But guys, it actually happened. And I have a lot more stories like that. Some even bizarre stories. So if you like them, let me know. Hit the like button, Subscribe, of course, to the channel. And hey, feel free to comment. Take care of yourself and each other. See you soon.